Hey everybody, it's been a while since I did my last video, so I figured I'd make this short video about my latest project, which is a DIY power station. So I'll try to go over some of the primary components and give everybody an idea of what I use it for, what the intended use for is anyway, and just capacity, things of that nature. So this is a GroWatt all-in-one inverter charger. It has capability of AC charging, DC charging, and it's a 3000 watt inverter from DC, so pretty nice little unit for the price anyway. There are better ones out there, but for the price that I got this thing for, it serves its purpose pretty well. The other primary component are these lithium 230 amp hour 12 volt batteries. I do have them hooked up in a series configuration to make them 24 volts or run at 24 volts, because obviously the batteries have to match the inverter, and the inverter itself is 24 volts, batteries 24 volts, and well, that leaves me 230 amp hours at 24 volts. Other components I have here is a relatively inexpensive ammeter or shunt, depending on what you want to call it. It just measures the amount of power or amperage, I believe, that's going across the negative lead here. So it measures power coming in and power going out of the batteries. And that's displayed here in this nice little display. It's a relatively inexpensive shunt. I think it was about 35 bucks or less for the 500 amp capacity shunt. And you can find them on Amazon, like I did. Other components are the battery cutoff switch, and you can find those all over the place. And here on this is my first time using one of these. This is a fuse block. I believe it's a 150 amp fuse block, which excuse me, is about the maximum that my inverter is able to pull or produce anyway. So I figured if it tried to pull any more than that, it's a direct short to ground, and I wanted that fuse to blow. So other things are these this DC breaker I have for the solar. I have about 1200 watts of solar coming in, and that is enough to charge these batteries up from the morning. They get done charging at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if not sooner, depending on how much sun you have. I think the MPPT on the GroWatt is has less capacity, or it's less efficient than some others, because I've used some Victron equipment before, and it seemed to do quite a bit better on just making use of whatever available power is coming from your solar. The other component that I have here is a 20 amp outlet, and yeah, if you do your math, 20 amps is more than 120 volts is more than what it's less capacity and what the GroWatt's capable of producing, but for my use, the intended use, and what I only intend to use it for, it serves its purpose just fine. Speaking of that, the intended purpose of this particular setup is to, let me go back up here a little bit, is to power my refrigerator and a 5000 BTU 550 watt or so window air conditioner at night. I do have a generator that I use and would use during the day to help charge this thing up if I needed to. But again, the primary use of this is at nighttime, when I don't want to have a loud generator hanging outside the window and I'm not able to keep an eye on it. This thing here is incredibly silent and works really well for powering both of those devices at nighttime. Tried it out before, works pretty well. As a matter of fact, I do use this thing continuously at this point here in South Texas. It is hot. And when I say hot, it's not as hot as it has been. I think the high for this week is supposed to be around 98, but it has been 105 degrees here, which is plenty hot. So at nighttime, I'm using the window AC in our bedroom to help cool it down. And it drops the power on these batteries to about 50%. Just over nighttime use. As far as mounting, I actually have this mounted. It's actually mobile. It's mounted, everything is mounted on a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood that is mounted to a 2-wheel dolly. See if I can get a shot of that back here without my finger getting in the way. And it's just strapped on to the dolly using some of the conduit straps there. So 3/4 inch plywood for the primary base, and then I have some 1/2 inch plywood here to use as your top and bottom to act as an offset for the inverter, so it doesn't actually have or creates an air gap between the back of the inverter and the wood surface. Hopefully it doesn't catch on fire on me and what have you. I think some other people have used metal or some other type of non-flammable material. This is my attempt to keep the cost low, complexity low, and hopefully not have a fire at some point. But again, this thing barely gets warm even with full usage, and the fans come on and work really well, so I don't expect a whole lot of heat buildup. So again, it's a GroWatt 24 volt, 3000 watt all-in-one inverter charger, and some 230 amp hour lead time lithium batteries in a 12 volt, or there are 12 volt, but connected in 24 volt configuration. I have it hooked up via a Ammeter or shunt, battery cutoff, DC breaker, and 20 amp outlet. And the cord coming in there is a 12 gauge extension cord that I cut up. If you probably see the extension cord off to the left here of the video, that's the extension cord that I use for AC charging. So that is my take on a DIY power station. If anybody has any questions, go and throw them in the comment section below. I'll get to them when I can. Thanks.